All right, welcome to Life Extension Live. I'm Dr. Mike, and that is
Dr. Crystal.
Today we're going to be talking about omega-3s. You know why? Why not?
I know.
They are essential nutrients that just are so good.
And we're not getting enough in our diet.
Yeah, not nearly.
And we know them for inflammation.
Yep.
But they have many roles in the body.
Yeah, we have some new stuff kind of, right?
Yes.
We're going to review some new studies with the omegas. On today's show, we're going to talk about how they can help protect against diabetes, combat inflammation, and shield your heart. Mm-hmm. I know you take omegas every day as a nutrient add-in.
I do in the form of krill.
Krill. I do too in the form of both krill and fatty acids from
He's
fish.
trying to one-up my krill.
Hey, we talked about this before. I figure, why not do one that has it all? Because, you know, at the end of the day, you want more omega-3s, right?
Yes.
And this show is not about type and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just get some. Mm-hmm. But that's just my opinion. I got a little krill. I got a little fish oil. I have a little astaxanthin.
You have some
mixed in there.
phospholipids, right?
Yeah.
For absorption. I know.
Same. Mm-hmm. There you go. I do 4 grams a day.
Okay.
You do?
I'm up to like 4,000. Well, about 4 grams.
4 grams.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say 4,000 grams.
But I guess for krill, it's kind of
different.
because you have to take a lot. They're not. It's not very potent.
Right. Okay.
When we look at krill, so to get
So you have to
the 4 grams.
Right, I get you. Okay. But you're doing around, if you were to total
Yes.
it up, it's around, we're doing a kind of equivalent. Of course, eat your fish and stuff like that.
Yes.
But you got it with
your fatty fish, small fatty fish,
but of
twice
course,
a week.
Twice a week. So you need an add-in to really rev up those amounts. Let's dive right into this. We already kind of just went over this. These are essential fatty acids that your body can't make. What's really cool about them now, and we have a picture of this.
Yes.
Right? The fatty acids get incorporated into the cell membrane.
That's nice, and they help those cell membranes to be fluid.
Yeah, and then they create or they activate signaling molecules. Yeah, and those signaling molecules you can see in the picture there can influence certain other proteins that are expressed by the cell.
Yeah.
Those proteins can be released, and those are the proteins that are good for you that you want.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's a really cool thing. I love it. So let's get into first. The first research was about omega-3s and glucose control. I really thought this was interesting because you don't think about fish oil and glucose.
You don't. It's not intuitive, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what in the opening when I mentioned we know it for inflammation. You don't think glucose support.
Yeah, and we usually it's heart, it's brain, all that kind of stuff. But I'm glad to see this because if you don't have glucose in control, it makes it hard to have a healthy heart and brain.
Yes,
Right.
and then how it works is really cool with those glucose transporters.
Right. So we have a picture of that too. Let's get into this first. There was this study, right? A 2022 preclinical study. What that means is these can be in petri dishes. These can be in animal models. Usually these are the types of studies you do to figure out mechanism of action and safety, right? And that's where research begins.
Yeah.
This is a normal step. So what did they find in this that was interesting?
So they found that omega-3s turbocharge cells' ability to absorb glucose by boosting GLUT4, which is activated through the binding of insulin to the cell membrane. And then those glucose transporters come from inside of the cell, fuse with that cell membrane, and then now the glucose can get into the cell.
Yeah.
And that cell needs to, like those membranes, when we talk about it being fluid and kind of malleable, so that GLUT4, that transporter can move up and fuse to let the glucose in. Yeah. Those omega-3s are helping that process.
Yeah, Robson, if you show the picture right now, you can see this, right? So there's your cell. On the other side, you got insulin starts it. Insulin binds to its receptor. That kind of gets the GLUT getting made and ready. And then the GLUT comes up, and those fatty acids help it come up because the membrane's fluid now. And now it can release the glucose out bring in the glucose into the cell where it belongs.
Yeah, so that lowers your
Brings down
blood
your sugar.
glucose level, because now the glucose is not in the bloodstream, it's into the cells where it belongs to make energy.
I like that. That was good.
Yes.
Now, preclinical data is not in humans. So then you always now want to make the connection between what the conclusion was in a petri dish or in an animal model to me and you.
Yes, does that truly lead all these mechanisms in cells? Does that lead to actual clinically relevant outcomes?
Guess what? It does.
Yes.
Yeah. Human trials confirm this. Omega-3s lower fasting blood sugar and improve insulin sensitivity. There was a meta-analysis of 30 trials that showed significant drops in insulin resistance. And so that, again, insulin's working better, the glutes are being made better, the fatty acids help to bring it up, and all of that is working better because of those Omega-3s.
Yeah. Who knew?
That's fantastic.
Now,
dose?
Yeah, dose. Now, you said you take 4. The dose range is about 1 to 6 grams daily. I would say get closer to the 4.
I think 4 is fine. Yeah, there might be, your doctor might give more for different reasons, whatever, but I think 4... And let's be honest, most people probably do 2 to 4. I think 4 is a good goal for people. And I also just wanted to mention, though, too, in general, since we're talking about diabetes and sugar and everything, one of the things Dr. Crisso and I are always amazed about is when we talk about so many age-related diseases and stuff, because we do a lot on this show and our podcast. We're coming to a greater appreciation of how complex a lot of this is. Right. And that old mentality where you have one disease, there must be one drug, and there's your answer. Yes. It doesn't work like that. So just remember, if you're a diabetic, pre-diabetic, or you just want to maintain better sugar, it's still lifestyle. It's still dietary stuff.
It's still fiber.
It's fiber. It's adding omega. I mean, it's these kind of issues that happen as we get older take a multi kind of factorial, multimodal strategy. And I just thought that was important to remember.
1,000%. Yes.
Okay, let's now go to heart protection for diabetes, and specifically people with diabetes.
Yes.
This is great, right? So we're still sticking with the diabetic. I do want to mention, if you have diabetes or pre-diabetes, new Dr. Crystal, that can damage the heart. If you have those elevated sugars, and we know it's through glycation reactions.
Right. If the sugar's around, it's going to bind to proteins, rendering those proteins non-functional in the body, and it can lead to what we call these advanced glycation end products, which are free radicals.
They're damaging.
Yes.
And they start to damage the inside of the vessels, that very important part, eyes. And when that happens, you start seeing the plaques build up and all this kind of stuff. I was taught years and years ago that diabetics have a kind of an environment of accelerated atherosclerosis.
Well, and one thing you're seeing when you're looking at the diabetes and accelerated atherosclerosis, the sugar can now kind of transform your lipid transporters, those LDLs, and like glycated LDL can't recognize the receptors to deliver the LDL into the cell, or your fats into your cell.
So they stay in the bloodstream, floating around, causing problems. Yeah. All right, now here's this. There are 2 trials. So you tell us the first one, the VITAL trial.
So the VITAL trial, 25,000 plus participants took 1 gram of omega-3s daily for 6 years. Love this.
Yeah.
Long term.
Nice long study.
Low dose.
But long. And a lot of people. See, this is good.
Yeah, so that's what we're saying. 1 gram is good. 6 years. Diabetics saw a 31% lower risk of heart failure, hospitalization. And you didn't see this in non-diabetics.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And then there was a meta-analysis. Dr. Crystal and I love meta-analysis, right? This is where you take a bunch of already concluded studies, you pull them together, ones that we're looking at similar stuff, right? Yeah. And they pull these ones together, and what you're doing is you're just increasing your confidence in the results, because instead of 100 people, you're pulling it with 1,000 more.
Yes, and you can say now the preponderance of evidence
The preponderance.
shows.
Let's sound official. Yeah, so this was one of those meta-analyses. It included close to 60,000 people now with diabetes, and it found omega-3s slashed cardiovascular risk by 7% in diabetics who have high risk.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
All right.
Improved cholesterol, reduced inflammation, and can even stabilize heart rhythm.
All right, and then we have one more.
Woo! You go.
New frontiers, ApoB.
ApoB. Tell us
And
about that.
inflammation. So I guess we need to describe what
What
ApoB
it is, yeah.
So ApoB is this protein that is attached to every transport truck delivering cholesterol out to the arteries or out to
Right.
cells. So any proatherogenic particle that's out delivering lipids has one ApoB.
Yeah.
And so it gives you, when you're kind of looking at ApoB, you're able to understand your total atherogenic burden, like the likelihood that you could be developing more plaque
Yeah.
than just looking at a standard LDL.
Right. These are considered very atherogenic types of proteins. They're going to be more prone to oxidation, more prone to glycation, and that's why they're so sticky and yucky and cause problems.
Right. And so when you have a higher ApoB, or ApoB in general is associated, linked to diabetes risk.
Yeah. So this was a trial, right? 2024. 33 people into high versus healthy ApoB groups. That's where they started.
Yeah.
Both groups took 2.7 grams of omega. Better
Better than the 1 gram. So
Better.
we like the 2.7.
for 12 weeks. Pretty good. Not bad. And here's what they found. Omega-3s erased the excess inflammation in high ApoB individuals, suggesting they neutralize fat tissue's inflammatory sabotage. What that means is when you're having clogged arteries and stuff like that, there's an inflammatory component to that.
Yes, yes.
And it seems that they can calm that down.
Well, that's the beauty of omega-3s in general, is they help to balance out the really strong pro-inflammatory mediators in your body, and they can help you to to support inflammation, or even have an inflammation response that's needed for healing. But it's not like this fire. It's not like volcanic lava.
Yeah.
You may get a nice little fire. So it's just helping you to not be so inflamed,
Yeah.
and they can have an anti-inflammatory effect. So more anti-inflammatory mediators, and it's about balance in the body, and that's what omega-3s really
For sure.
help
Yeah,
to
for sure.
kind of bring about that balance.
It's why we talk so much about inflammation, and also I'm going to add oxidative stress, because those are two big driving factors in a lot of age-related diseases. right?
Especially diabetes.
Especially diabetes. So that was a lot of great information, new information about omega-3s, why we think you should be taking them. Again, whatever form you want to do, whether it's krill, a mix of krill and fish, there's different even forms of omegas from fish, whatever. Just get some in your body every day.
Or
right?
algae.
Algae
right?
even,
If you
yes.
don't want the fish,
Absolutely.
then you can have algae. That's your vegan option.
So for more information, again, our sponsor, Life Extension, they put together these protocols, right? What great protocols. Full of amazing information, all highly referenced.
And
every
this one
statement.
is new,
Brand new.
updated, lots of new information.
Go to lifeextension.com/heroes, because today's show was about heart heroes. Heroes. So go check that out. Again, lifeextension.com/heroes. And don't forget, when you're there, you might as well use the discount code LE Live.
LA Live for 10% off $50 or more, plus free shipping and handling.
All at lifeextension.com. Don't forget, we go live every Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern Time. New show coming up called Real Wellness with Dr. Mike and Dr. Crystal. That's us. And we're really excited about that. It's going to be a whole new thing that's coming up soon. In the meantime, it's still live 12 noon Eastern Time.
That's right. Wednesdays.
Wednesdays. I'm Dr. Mike. That's
Dr. Crystal.
We'll see you next time.